Let's stand, please. I ask the village chaplain to lead us in a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Our Father, my God, we thank you for the gift of life, as well as all the blessings you bestowed upon us. And oh God, we pray now your blessings upon this village president and this village board as they do the work concerning the village of Fort Heights. Might you bless them with all the resources and everything that's needed to move this village forward in such a way that you might be pleased, knowing that they first of all are responsible to those they serve and mostly responsible to you. But we ask you to watch over them, bless them, and keep them. Oh Lord, bless their families, those that are bereaved. We pray that you will console and comfort them, and just bless this village in general. Lord, do it all for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. The Village Board of Trustees regular scheduled board meeting now come to order. Time is 5:24. The date is Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2024. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Charles Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Elliot Harper.
Present.
Trustee Antoine McMichaels.
Here.
Trustee Jimmy Viverette.
Present.
Trustee Freddie Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Johnny Griffin.
Present.
Mayor, let the record reflect that Trustee Tyrese Andrews is not in attendance, but you do have enough open.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Moved by Trustee Griffin, is there a second?
Second. Wilson.
Second by Trustee Wilson. All in favor, use sign of aye. All opposed? So ordered. Can I have a motion to approve special board minutes for March 23rd, 2024?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Griffin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Wilson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Harper.
Yes.
Trustee Viverette.
Yes.
Trustee McMichaels.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve the special meeting minutes for March 23rd, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Under the mayor's report, you have consideration for possible action to approve ordinance number 2024-04-03-01. It's an ordinance fixing time, place, and location for public hearing for the village of Fort Heights, U.S. Route 394/Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project area. Also plan for the implementation of the TIP district, tax increment financing district. Are there any questions before I ask for a motion to approve? This is an ordinance where the village has to set a time, a place, and a notice for the public hearing for the Joint Review Board. Joint Review Board is made up of all the tax districts. Library district, I'm gonna ask, I see that Reverend Jones is here, is present, that he have a member that participate on the Joint Review Board for the TIP district. Understand what the TIP district actually is. We have a current development that's going on with Diesel Max. Diesel Max is a development that initially we're looking at anywhere from $50 to $150 million. They've started with the truck repair center off of 394. I'm pretty sure most of you have have gotten a chance to see that. I met with the general contractor for Diesel Max last week. They are waiting on their WMO permit from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. Once they get the permit, they'll start bringing in thousands of truckloads of clay to elevate that land to where they're not getting the water, where you see the water standing. And the plan is to put EV stations, a gas station, as well as a 4-story hotel in that area along with restaurant. I'm also requesting that the village be allowed to put a development for minority participation in that particular area, and they've been receptive to that particular idea. I think that it's only appropriate that some folks from local folks get an opportunity to at least be a part of that huge development. And so I'm excited about it. This is a development that I initially started in 2015. I was away for a few years, and these guys were not able to get any traction until we returned in 2021. And so this thing is up, it's going, it's gonna happen. They plan to finish the truck repair center by the end of this year, and hopefully get started on the restaurant as well as gas station and other entities no later than the spring of 2025. And so what the TIF district does is for their investment, it gives them incentives for them to invest this type of money. In other words, the village of Fort Heights has one of the highest property tax rates in the state of Illinois. And if you invested that kind of money without incentives, you, first of all, you're not gonna do it, okay? Just like Family Dollar, I had to enter into a project redevelopment agreement with Family Dollar in order to get them. So I came to the Board of Trustees and asked for them to do exactly the same thing. There's only about 10 or 12 eligible TIF-related expenses that they can get some type of incentives or reimbursements for. One is utility relocation. 2 is excavation. 3 is land purchase. 4 is architectural. 5 is legal. And there's several others that don't come to mind, but if they're able to get up to 75% over a 20-year period of time, they can get a portion of whatever their investment is. What my recommendation is always to be between 60 to 75%. Looking at XPO right next door, which Chicago Heights put in, during 2018 and 2020, I should say, maybe 2021. Chicago Heights gave up about 74%. I got a copy of their redevelopment plan. That's the only way they were gonna get the business. So the only way that we're gonna be able to grow and to get the business and attract investors and developers is to be competitive and to offer the type of incentives where you'll make it up with sales tax. You're gonna make it up with hospitality tax and motor fuel tax for gas. That, with the traffic count on 394, you will do huge motor fuel taxes, okay? And so I'm talking about not in the hundreds of thousands. All the taxes put together should be in the millions. So I highly recommend that the board pass this particular ordinance so that we can finalize this project. I've been working on this TIF for almost a year, a little over a year probably. And I'm working with Vince Cankar, who does all of the TIF stuff for Country Club Hills and Madison's and Park Forest and Olympia Fields. And he's actually the village attorney for Justice and Hickory Hills and Bridgeview and all of those really nice, well-off kind of towns, I'll put it like that. So he's one of the top line attorneys, and we've been working hand in hand on this thing. And so we finally got it to where this is almost a conclusion. We shall have this TIF in place no later than the end of June. But one of the steps in getting it in place is adopting this ordinance. Are there any questions from the council?
No. No.
Can I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-04-03-01, an ordinance authorizing the Joint Review Board meeting to be held on April the 24th, 2024, this year, the public hearing to be held on May the 22nd of 2024. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Wilson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Griffin. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Griffin,
Yes.
trustee Wilson,
Yes.
trustee McMichaels,
Yes.
trustee Harper,
Yes.
trustee Viverette.
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve ordinance number 2024-04-03-01, an ordinance fixing a time and place for the public hearing on the Village of Fort Heights Route 394, Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project Area, the redevelopment project and plan and tax increment allocation financing for May 24th, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The Joint Review Board meeting is not for the public or the members of the Board of Trustees. Although the public can attend and members of the Board of Trustees can attend, they cannot participate in the proceedings, okay? That is why we scheduled a public hearing on May the 22nd. It's for the public. Any opinions, any comments or statements that the public may have as it relates to establishing a TIF district for US 394 and Lincoln Highway would be answered at the 22nd of May 22nd public hearing at that particular time. Are there any questions?
I have a question there. You said, so the board member who voted on this had no say-so in the meeting that's going on with the
With the Joint Review Board?
Joint Review Board?
No, the Joint Review Board is made up of all your taxing bodies. Okay, it's made up of your park district, so it'll be a member for the park district. It's made up from your library, there'll be a member for the library. It'll be a member from the village, it'll be a public member that I will appoint. And it will be a person from Cook County, a person from Bloom Township, District 169, and it's a consolidated district over in 168, is it? It's over on the other side. By it being in their territory, you have to invite them as well, and also 160 and 206. So the only ones that can vote on anything dealing with the taxation, as far as this district is concerned, are the actual Joint Review Board members. Board of Trustees have no input on anything with the taxes as far as the district is concerned. You authorize a TIF. Overall, the Board of Trustees decide whether it's going to be a TIF. But in terms of how does it affect the library or how it affects the park district, well, I'll tell you how it affected. Right now, it's all cornfield. They ain't get nothing, zero. The way that it affected is the worst thing that happened is you continue to get nothing. If you don't get any development, you get the development in, you probably end up getting some revenue to kind of operate. And so that's primarily that particular reason. It's for, that's like I said, it's not for the public. You have to have a special set aside public hearing for the public to answer any of the questions or anything, any concerns that they may have. Okay? Thank you. Legal.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Is there anything, anybody have any questions on the legal? Okay, what I asked the attorney to do, and his administrator, is let's look into the property taxes for anybody that participated in the housing rehabilitation program. Most of the folks received those properties in 21, but we even had some properties in some some deeds that we got in 2015. That the administration that replaced me did not do anything with those deeds from 2015, when we got through the first no cash bid, through 2021. But they were accruing taxes. But the property belonged to the village. So the responsibility is the village. We would have to work with the county to get those taxes removed. And when that person, whatever point or time that person received that property for the rehabilitation program, they would then be responsible for the taxes, not prior to that. And so I received a number of tax bills, attorney, judge, that I'm gonna get with Joe on, and I'll get you a copy of that. There's some concerns. I don't want you to be concerned. I don't think it's a problem at all.
No.
We will work together to make sure that that situation is rectified. And Joe, what I encourage, Judge, is for us to, we really started, as a lot of property in the village of Fort Heights that's dormant, where folks just walked away from the property. Either the property was demolished, they vacant lots, a lot of them, and they're still accumulating taxes. And a lot of these particular properties have been vacant or demolished for 30 years. But they're still accumulating taxes. So when the village goes to redevelop these properties, we gotta deal with the issue of getting rid of back taxes. When there should be a process that we could establish with the Cook County Treasurer, Cook County Clerk's office, and the Assessor's office, that where when we communicate and send an official listing of properties involved in our program, our rehab program, that those taxes are automatically removed. A lot of those properties are still showing taxes from 2007.
If they wasn't on the list that we presented to the county, they would not automatically be removed. But I think our experience has been, the list that we gave them, and the time period that we specified, they have removed those. Now, I'll check to see, I believe it was up until 2020. But if you think it's 2021, I'll find out.
Okay, and so we're gonna work on that. Why I'm so adamant about us really putting that process in place, because I want to escalate the development. One thing, we got a really bad census count. You know, census count is extremely low. I know that it's more than 2,000 people in Fort Heights. You know, but when you don't really do a thorough job of being counted, then not only Fort Heights, I looked at Dixie-Moore. Dixie-Moore went from 4,000 to a bit above 3,000. We lost probably 500 or 600, they probably lost 800 or 900. So all these towns lost, but we can't do nothing about them, we can do something about us. There's a special census that's held in mid-census year, which is 2025. I'm trying to get to the point where we can do the special census in 2025. In order to do a special census, I think that we would have to have 200 units, 200, 150 at the minimum occupied. I'm pleased to announce that the Sunnyfield rehab program, they started. And that's 50 units that they're gonna have on. They rehab over, what is it, 11th Street? What's the? What is it, Jim Yates? Vera Yates? When they did the census count, it was 47 units vacant. They only have about 10 vacancies right now. So if you look at that 10, you look at the 50, that's 60. Okay? We've done at least about 34, you know, between that time and now. So we're right around 80 to 90 units. We figure out how to get another 50, 60 units, it makes sense, because we have to pay for the special census. They're not gonna pay again, they paid the first time. Okay? And so I had conversation with Dow Smith as you know, the Housing Authority County of Cook gave her 501c3 100 units that used to be the Selena Blank complex. I don't blame Ms. Smith. I blame Cook County Housing Authority. They gave it to an individual who had a non-for-profit that had zero money. And that's why she's done 8 units in about 8 years, which is horrendous. Ms. Smith is willing to work with the village. I've talked with several attorneys on how we may be able to get her to donate in lieu of foreclosure half of those units to the village, where the village could identify individual investors. Each of these buildings have 4 units. Most of them are 2-bedroom units, some of them are 3-bedroom units. But I want to expedite this donation agreement. I want to have a correspondence attorney with Ms. Smith where we could formalize this thing, get the village 15th Street. She agreed to give work with the village take 15th Street, as long as we allow her to continue to develop 16th Street. I think that that's the most expedient way that you could go about it, because we could find her and eventually we could take all the units. But it might take 2 or 3 years. Well, if she willing to work with you right now on 50 units and you could get 50 units, you could give folks that show that they had a capacity to go in and rehab these units in a timely fashion. I'd say to do a 4-unit complex over there, probably gonna run you anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000. Now, folks that do the work themselves might be able to do it for 50 or 60. Okay, I don't really care. You know, my thing is we want them done. We don't want them to continue to be an eyesore and a distraction in terms of the village receiving municipal revenue. And so if we can come to an agreement with Ms. Smith, where we kind of work with her a little bit to get them 50 units, then I think it behooves the village in the long run in terms of the results that you'll get by having a special census count. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask the board whether you have any comment in reference to what I've stated, and I'm gonna ask for the board's authorization to engage in a dialogue with Ms. Smith and the attorney to engage with the dialogue and try to formulate a partnership agreement between the Village of Ford Heights and Dow Inc., which is a technical LLC, technical name of her company. I think that we have the leverage. My concern is, do we really want to go the foreclosure route, which is going to take several years, or do you want to do this, which we could probably have acquisition these units within months? Any questions for the council? It's important now, ask your questions. If you got some questions, ask them.
The question I have to ask is, I'm an investor and also I'm a person developer. Will it be a problem with me sitting on the board, investing my money back into my community with one of those units? I take 1 or 2 of them and have them done within a couple of months.
We have an attorney here, I can give you my opinion.
I don't see a problem with it if you're investing as an individual and not as a board number one. And if anything come before the board concerning those units, you would have to abstain. You could not vote on it.
Okay. That's the only question I have.
Now, that's also a question that I've asked several other attorneys, and they responded exactly the same way. One, you're in leadership position, you're village trustees, you should lead by example by reinvesting in your community. I think it sets the right type of precedence. And so I encourage it. Now, do I think that it should be a fair and equitable process where the public has a right, exactly the same opportunity? Yes, I do. And you have to show that you have the capital. Because I'm not talking about a year. We're talking about being able to work with this woman, get this, because I think it could be so successful that we go back and say, hey, we want to negotiate on 16th Street. We see that you're still struggling. Well, I don't want to get into that.
She's
But
talking
let
about
me just,
15th right now.
let me put it like this here. I asked for a motion for the board to allow the mayor of a village attorney to have a dialogue to develop a partnership agreement with Dow Smith as it relates to those units over there at Selena Break on 15th, 16th Street.
So,
15 and 16 or just?
We're gonna use 15 and 16 in the partnership agreement. She will continue to have the right to develop it, 16th Street.
If she agreed.
If she agrees, and she will afford the village the right to start ASAP with developing 15th Street. I really mentioned 15th Street because I had a concern. You know, I go to services, I go, and I've known Reverend Futrell, who's a village chaplain, all his life. I'm a little older than he is. And I go by Christ Temple number 2, and I look across the street, and I have to turn around and look the other way, because it's repulsive. And so I told her point blank that I want to start on Ellis and Drexel, because you got the church here, and on Drexel you got the school.
Yes.
So if we could start there, it's at least 15 units up in there. And if we got folks that have the capacity to do it, that look like us, that have the same pigmentation as us, then I'm with that too. I ain't for other folks. I don't exclude them, but if we could do it ourselves, then that's what I'm about. So, did I call for a motion?
yeah.
Slow move.
Did it pass?
Yeah, and this one, but you do it again, Mayor.
Just call for it.
Can I have a motion to approve? I'm sorry.
Slow move now.
Moved by trustee McMichael, is there a second? Second by trustee Griffin, roll call.
Trustee McMichael?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Viverette?
Yeah.
Trustee Wilson?
I'm saying.
Thank
They
you.
got abstained now.
I want to make sure that I'm abstaining while I'm not.
You right now. You right now.
Trustee
I ain't voting on this, so if I get a two, and they don't have nothing to say about it.
Okay. Motion carries to allow mayor and village attorney to have dialogue regarding partnership agreement with Dow Smith about the Selena Lakes homes, 15th and 16th Street.
Right. Okay, thank you. In addition to that, I do have a meeting with the president of Cook County Board of Commissioners, Rural Chief, as well as Susan Campbell, who's over planning and development, Carl Bradley, which, you know, you guys met at the last meeting. I have a meeting scheduled with Cook County on the 15th. And a lot is gonna come up about that. I really think that they did her a disservice. They should have gave us some money to help with rehab in those units. But the reason they dumped those units on Dow Smith, they didn't want to pay for demolition. The cost of demolition would have been probably $25 to $30 million. They could at least gave her $5 or $6 million to start doing something, but they knew she was gonna fail. So we could talk about that, but we have another issue that, and I appreciated the president of the Cook County Board calling me a couple times as it relates to the Forest Preserve District. The Forest Preserve District purchased the land behind McCullum's funeral home, 56 acres. And I was quite disturbed with that because we had been going back and forth on trying to get some development in that area. That's right adjacent to where we're fixing to do Diesel Max, which I felt that development right there would actually put Fort Heights on the map. Well, Diesel Max, that development's gonna do it. It's gonna change the town from how you view it and see it now to where you probably won't even believe it 10 years from now. A lot of, hopefully we're around to see it, but the fact is that by the Forest Preserve District buying that land, and they wanna put flood prevention devices and things like that, makes it non-developable. Okay, and this is why I was telling you guys that this stuff is business, it ain't personal. When you talk about a person that hasn't paid property taxes and owe $1 million in property taxes, we should have taken the property years ago. And right now, it would probably be developed, but the only thing stop this village from getting acquisition of that property is that funeral home. That's the only reason. And the fact is that we tried on numerous occasions to come to some type of consensus, and we negotiated with a person that's not paying property taxes, hasn't paid property taxes, like they had the leverage. And in the end, what happens? Forest Preserve comes in, they buy it, and now you can't do no development. So I talked with president of Cook County Board, and I let her know I'm just quite disturbed. I just see it happening over and over and over again in people of color's community. When you go in and you do things and you put various flood prevention and environmental safety devices and things in those neighborhoods where it makes it difficult for them to generate commerce and business and municipal wealth. And I feel that the United States Department of Agriculture did the same thing to the village of Fort Heights. That back in, was that 2009, 2010? Maybe 2008, 2007. When they took the 30 acres over here off of 394. That was under Mayor Saul Beck.
That was 2006, Mayor.
2006?
Yeah.
That's under Mayor Saul Beck. Now that was the most marketable property in this village. And they put reservoir in there, and they widened and deepened that little creek, that pond, where it's now like 20-something feet deep and this, that, and the other, and they said flood prevention or whatever they want to call it. But I just always thought that there were ways to put a government partnership together where you could have took a portion of the land and put those devices in and left the land closer to 394 for development. But they destroyed the potential for development in that area, and they're gonna do the same thing in this area. So what I'm left with is pretty much trying to negotiate with them, and whether they do or not, I don't think they will, but I'm still gonna try. Is for them to at least divest maybe 56 acres. So if they divest 58 of those acres for the village to pursue some type of economic development, then it would make it a lot more attractive. They utilize it that it floods on Kennedy Lane. Actually, it floods on Kennedy Lane 2 times a year. Okay, and none of them get water in their basement. And the fact of the matter is that why would you, I would rather move the houses off of Kennedy Lane and develop those 58 acres for transportation, warehousing, logistics, and commercial businesses than to have 10 houses on Kennedy Lane. Build them some new houses somewhere. Got plenty of land. And this is what I'm telling the president of Cook County Board, that, you know, it seems like to me that every time you turn around in our black neighborhoods, we got government or white folks coming in and they're telling us what to do. And I don't think it's right. I think that we should be able to sit down and come to consensus and some type of partnership. Well, okay, since when did the Forest Preserve anyway get into the point where they deal with water? I thought the Forest Preserve was mostly trees. You know, now you didn't say MWRD, the Water Reclamation District, coming in purchasing land. This is the Forest Preserve, okay? And so we're looking at all of these things, and all these things have an impact on your community and what it's gonna be in 2030. And so they, by the time I finished fussing, she got on the phone, called me a couple times and set up a meeting with her #1 people. And we'll do our spiel, and hopefully we get to come to some type of an agreement. But you gotta take advantage of opportunities now, you know, when it happens. This can't be personal. You know, I don't care who it is.
Right.
At the end of the day, you got folks, only 60% of the folks paying property tax. If they don't pay their property tax, you need to take their house. And it's simple, it's not being cruel.
That's what the government.
2/3 of your tax revenue for a town to operate should come from property taxes. And until you get to the point that we're doing this and we trying to appease folks, just do it the right way and be done with it. So, that's neither here nor there, it's on and on forever. But, I thank you. Next on the agenda is, clerk. I'm asking the village clerk, she has a number of correspondence that I want her to read and inform the board and the public, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor and Board of Trustees. First item is a thank you card. It says that you do a heart good. It is from Janice Hartman, Community Care Coordinator, Vera Yates Homes. Thank you, Mary, Property Manager. On behalf of the seniors of the Vera Yates Homes, thank you so much for the pizza. It was delicious. The next correspondence, I will read it as is. If you have any questions, I truly will not have any answers. So, on March 29, 2024, attention Ford Village. I, Tracy Cole, were a former resident. I am asking for you all help in the amount of $350. Please help. Thank you. And she left a contact number. So you do with that what you will. I do not have any answers as to what
Can I ask a question?
this money is for, what it is for.
Yeah,
It
that's-
did not state in the letter. The backstory to this is she came to asking for some money, and she was told to write a letter to you all for you all to discuss. So that concludes the correspondence from the clerk's corner.
Okay, are you finished? Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on the agenda is committee report.
Let's just get ready.
We know Finance and Finance, Trustee Andrews, is out of town.
Tell myself.
Personnel Administration, Trustee McMichael.
I don't have a report at this time, Mayor, for personnel. Just everything been run well.
Item C, Police and Fire, Trustee Wilson.
Well, I was just notified today that we got a few issues going on with Bud that maybe we're gonna be able to work out and take care of. So, once I find out the details, then I can let the public know what we need to do and moving forward. That's it.
Thank you, Trustee. Streets and Alley, Trustee Griffin.
Well, Mayor, Public Works is in the process of just locating debris and fallen trees and preparing vehicles to run, so far as the cutting grass season. So we're about a week or two out before we can get started. That also includes potholes. So whatever we can do, it'll start in 2 weeks, nothing less than that, because we're preparing to get things done.
Any questions for, Trustee Griffin?
Or anything that you want to add to that needs to be addressed.
When you gonna start your
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks?
Yeah. Right now, we're dealing with a field where we had to cut down trees. I believe there's some development coming there, but we still got the stumps. So we're renting a stump grinder and getting that territory or area straight so that we could, we won't be in the way of what's supposed to happen. Other than that, we're about ready to go.
Okay.
In addition, under,
Streets and that.
streets and alleys, you've had a sewer collapse on Embassy Lane, that we did call Calumet City Plumbing. But what you're gonna have to find out, what you need to know, is that all of these old trees in the parkways, they, at some point, you're gonna have to have a tree removal program. A lot of roots have started to collapse your infrastructure that's in the ground. It's affecting not only your sanitary sewer, but your storm sewer, as well as your water lines, and your valves, and your V-boxes, your hydrants. And so there has to be a maintenance program that eventually we get to the point where we're looking at it. I have no idea what the cost is gonna be, but I certainly think that at some point, we have to really look at putting in place some type of maintenance program and tree removal program for a lot of dead trees. Even if a tree is dead on the ground, don't mean that the roots are dead. You cut a tree down, if you don't remove the roots, I'm told that the roots live for another 10, 12 years. And so, it's a lot more to it to be done. There's a lot of money involved. You know, I'm pretty sure before we repair that collapsed sewer, the tree itself costs $1,800
Right.
to cut down. For them to repair that sewer, it's probably gonna be another $7,000 to $8,000. And then on top of that, you have water break after water break. But then folks are talking about water bills and getting breaks and waiving water costs and this, that, and the other. At some point, you just gotta do business the way business is supposed to be done. You have to maintain your water system, your sewer system, your storm drain system, and all of that costs money. And you're not generating enough revenue with your water system because all the antiquated infrastructure you have in the ground. And so we have to seriously look at it. I think you need $50 million. And the only way you're gonna get that money is through IEPA, that type of money. I'm working with the village engineer, Judge, on trying for the village to apply for a debt forgiveness program. The debt forgiveness program, I know they did it in Dalton, where they went and got like $20 million for infrastructure and water, sewer, sanitary line replacement and renewal. I don't think they paid back $1 million before they forgave all the rest of the debt. But whatever your bill is, you gotta pay it, you gotta pay it on time. If you fail to pay it on time, they're not gonna forgive the debt. So understand, you're gonna have to enter into that type of agreement at some point. We were like number 2 on that list when I left in 2016. But when I come back, we're not even on the list. What happened? Well, we don't want you to tell either. But I don't know. I'm trying to make this thing as short as we can. Public health and sanitation, Trustee Hopper. Thank you. Water and sewer, Trustee Debrett.
Mr. Mayor, was about 3 or 4 months ago, we had a water committee meeting, and what we did, I got with the business administrator, and we had put things on the water bill, pertaining to people who died in the water, asking that all water bills be turned up by May.
Right.
So right now, I don't know where she's standing there with it. I'm not about turning people's water off. You know, between, from the time we put the letters out and, there, I don't know, where we at now, but I'm gonna give it her tomorrow. We're gonna go over the water bills and take a look at them and, find out how many outstanding bills we got and, kind of set up some appointments with some, residents or something like that before we take the water off. Try to see if we can work something out. I mean, it's critical that, water is paid, your Hammond, your Chicago Heights, your, water could be, very dangerous to a custody. So I, I have to be really careful.
Get back connected.
Yeah.
Any questions for trustee DeBrey? Again, I think it's gonna help a lot. And, the Department of Commerce and Community Affairs, we did receive $1.5 million to address some of the major issues that relates to water. One of the things is that we're gonna install electronic metering, where you actually don't have to go on nobody's property, and no touchpad, or you don't have to worry about none of that. They'll put antennas on top of the water towers, and they'll do its own reading. You got folks that tamper with turning water on and off. It'll flag you as soon as something like that happens. But we have to update our entire water system. I'm working with Build Up Cook now, and I'm pleased to announce that they just pitched in another $1 million. I see Mr. Kenner, I thought he was a pimp coming in. I had to look 3 times, yeah. You know, but at any rate, we had $400,000 for 2022 CDBG, and Build Up Cook kicked in another $1 billion to make it 1.4 billion that we're gonna deal with. We took 2 of the worst areas, 13th Street. So 13th Street, we're gonna do some water line, water main improvement, and resurface from Cottage Grove to Woodline on 13th Street. We're gonna do the same thing on 13th Place. If there's some monies left, we'll identify some other streets that need to be done, but I'm now seeking more road resurfacing money. But I know that those things should happen this year. I'm pleased about that. It's just a matter of finalizing a few things with the grant agreement. All that's gonna help with your water. In terms of your electronic metering, when a person doesn't pay their bill, their water shut off. It ain't no, you know, if y'all wanna put a little slush fund or something for emergency, then the board has to come up with something. But come up with something, you know, that's gonna deal with folks that's maybe disabled, or folks that seniors or something like that. But folks do everything else they wanna do. They gotta pay your water bill, they pay your cable bill, you know, or most of us do. So, thank you, Mr. DeBrey. Old business, any old business? New business. Other new business, we do have a Village Fest. I'm meeting with Trustee McMichaels. I see it's not on the agenda, but I'm gonna put it on the new business. It's for the board to look at authorizing $15,000 for fest this year for Trustee McMichaels to kind of coordinate along with the finance department. I had several meetings. We went back and forth, and we kind of come to a consensus that, you know, I know the lawsuits. I know I got to come up with money for Tyler. I know I got to come up with money to pay. Bud's Ambulance sent us, when we got here, we owe Bud's Ambulance $176,000. Okay, well, we owe them $90,000 now. Fix to send them another $20,000. But a lot of this stuff, this is what I'm telling you, all we could do, and in a minute I'm gonna ask for Deputy Chief Drake, you know, to kind of give you a little bit of information as where it stands with Bud. Bud is trying to get out of serving far south suburban communities. He knows a lot more about it than I do, but I've asked the Police and Fire Committee with Trustee Wilson to assemble and to come up with not only what we're gonna do now. They're not pulling out, believe me, but I think that you have to kind of look at what's gonna be and what's desirable to be in the future. You know, most of these towns are going back to doing paramedic services themselves. Most of them, South Village left Bud. Linwood is installing their on, Glenwood left Bud a couple years ago because their prices are astronomical. We pay them a base of $3,000 a month, but they bill everybody they pick up. So it's like double billing anyway, you know? And so I don't know the answers. I'm just asking for the committee to be with Mr. Drake as an employee, not only deputy chief of the fire department here, but he also works for Bud's ambulance service. And understand ambulance service is vital. So we have to come to a resolution with how we're gonna proceed, you know, and how we're gonna move forward in the best interest of our constituents. And so that's where we at with that. But I kind of got off a little bit when I put a request that Trustee McMichael's requested $15,000 to do a Village Fest this summer. Are there any questions for the council?
Do you have the motion?
Can I have a motion?
So move.
Moved by both Trustee Griffin and Trustee Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Beverly. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
trustee Griffin,
Yes.
trustee Harper,
Yes.
trustee Beverly,
Yes.
trustee McMichael.
Abstain.
The motion has carried to approve $15,000 for the Fort Heights Village Fest to be held on July 26th through the 27th, 2024.
Thank you. I'll ask Deputy Chief Drake to come forward. Would like to give a brief synopsis of what's going on with the ambulance service, what he anticipates, and for Trustee Wilson, along with you and other members of the fire department to set a date and time to meet.
As of April 1st, well, last be March 1st, Linwood gave their 90 days to pull out away from Bud's. They're gonna start their own ambulance service again. South Village had already moved away from Bud's ambulance service last year. Glenwood moved away from 2 years ago. They got their 90 days, but they gave us our warning or 90 days of saying, come May 1st, they will be having a 15 minutes to 20 minutes response time to us because they're not gonna sit an ambulance down here because it's not feasible for them at this time because we're so backlogged in payments from our last administration. Yes, they have been making big strides of paying us down, and it has got paid down a lot. They have been paying up to date. Just like the mayor said, they're double taxing us. They're charging us to retain this ambulance, but then they're charging our citizens the fees too when they come pick us up. So whatever we do, we gotta move in the best way for our village and our citizens. So hopefully we can get something solved in this next couple 30 days that we can present something for the board to move forward, and hopefully it all gets taken care of, that we are still taken care of. We still have an ambulance, but we gotta get some things squared away. Any other questions for anybody?
No, right now you're just approaching the board. It's not time for citizens. I need you to, let's set a date. When can you meet?
We gotta do this ASAP. I'll try to set it up within this week. I've been pressuring her to give me some paperwork and communications for the board so they can know what's going on. I will contact her as soon as we leave out of this meeting and set up.
Trustee Wilson, when's a good time for you to meet?
Anytime, I'm available.
Okay.
Okay, so make sure you at least have contact information for each other.
Yep.
Let's schedule this and let's sit down and work out the most feasible route as far as the village is concerned. Before I go to citizens, I saw Mr. L. Kent walk in, and I want you to relay a message. I just spoke in reference to how elated I was to hear from the president of the Cook County Board President Preckwinkle as it relates to the Forest Preserve's acquisition of 56 acres off of 394. I did share with her that I was disgruntled, that those parcels was a part of the village economic plan and revenue generating stream planned for years to come. And for the Forest Preserve to identify that for flood prevention devices, I thought was asinine. One, for an area that doesn't flood. And for two, it would be the second time government has come into our community and put in reservoirs and retention devices and have pretty much eliminated economic development opportunities for the village. Off of 394, just south of Lincoln Highway, the United States Department of Agriculture did the same thing 12 years ago, 15 years ago maybe. At any rate, they came in, they spent $20–30 million putting flood prevention devices in, and less than, I would say, 200 feet, you want to do the same thing. It doesn't make sense. Well, there were no coordination meetings. I felt that if in the event that something's going to be done, it could be done in a partnership agreement that affords the Forest Preserve District, which still is mind-boggling to me. How do they get into flood prevention? You know, I understand MWRD and the Department of Natural Resources, but the Forest Preserve to coming in just land banking and buying land throughout Cook County to do these types of developments, I thought that it was a disservice in our neighborhood in terms of what we're trying to do. And I shared that with Madam President, and she was very, very receptive, and I appreciated the fact that she did direct the bureau chief along with some of the heads of the department to meet with the village on April the 15th to discuss, to see if there's a possibility for some type of consensus. I certainly appreciate that gesture. And I think that at some point we have to start looking out for one another, especially in neighborhoods with our demographics, where we're looking at, if you see, like I explained to her, Diesel Max, which is a $50–100 million project that's going on the east side of 394, and on the west side of 394, where you have 58 more acres that we have in our development plan. You want to turn it into a non-developable area because you have this environmentalist disposition to put flood control devices throughout. It just doesn't make any sense. If we work together and partner, give the village the land, the parcels near 394, and take the parcels on the opposite side, and let's do something in a coordinated manner in which there's true partnership, then it makes sense. And so we're going to at least have a discussion, and I'm glad of that. But good seeing you here, Buck. Would you like to have a few words?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Al Kendall, Special Assistant with Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle. It's always an honor to be here with my good friends, with the mayor, Judge Studley, and the trustees and the others. I wanted to make sure to let everyone know that we have an historic amount of money that we're making available for the issue of behavioral health. There is $44 million going to be available for behavioral health grants. It's part of the opera dollars from President Biden, Cook County got $1 billion, and in that we have managed, we met with a lot of different community groups, took a lot of input from everyone, and we come up with various ways in which we are dispensing it in order to serve the needs of the community. One of which is through Build Up Cook, which is a program that seeks to work with minority communities, struggling communities, those who have deferred maintenance within their municipalities that don't have the resources in order to meet all the needs. So now this is me talking on a separate hat, not from the government hat. So on the other hat, there is obviously any number of people who are suing the federal government trying to prevent us from being able to do and award our dollars in this matter. And I won't go into names of who they are. And if that continues, then there could be a day when this won't be able to happen like this. The president has put together discretionary indexes that disproportionately allow us to be able to give more dollars to Ford Heights and other places around Cook County. Some of the other places have had these dollars for any number of years. But it is the only way in which we know that we can begin to move more dollars to the south suburban areas and to some of the other areas that are struggling and want to make sure to do it while it's on our watch. And that's why you got the $1 million, and that's why we're willing to do any other things that we can to try and assist these communities, even though we're being challenged any number of ways. So we can't go around and say how we're being challenged, but if you read the paper, you'll see. Now, in addition to that, the behavioral health grant is $44 million. It will be awarded to different groups, and some groups at $500,000, and some at $1 million. So these are community groups that can apply. These are your federal qualified health agencies that can apply, or a health institution, or it can just be a community-based organization working in partnership with a school district or any combination thereof. There will be virtual workshops that will be happening this 4th and 5th, and the deadline is on the 17th. And for those that I don't, I will send it to my good friends here, Judge Studley and the mayor and Joseph. But if you see me or give me your cell number, I'll also text it to you that you might be able to share with others. And the deadline is the 17th. There are a lot of other things, but I wanted to make sure that related to that because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This amount of money won't be coming again. So these grants, as they come available, we want to make sure that people take advantage of them. Now, the president has a radio show that comes on every third Sunday on channel 820, WCPT, and then on the evenings at 7 o'clock on WVON, that's 1690. So it's Tony on the 7th, 7 a.m. from 7 to 8 on WCPT, and then at night at 7 p.m. on WVON. All right?
Any questions, Mr. Kibble?
I have a question. The 17th of this month?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a very short window.
It is. I mean, they've sent it out through all of their regular means, through emails and the rest. But my charge is, at the request of the president, for me to make sure to go visit communities and report it out in case you may have missed any other forms of communication. So I go to a lot of city council meetings, a lot of churches. I'll be at churches over the weekend and talking to other folks, just trying to make sure to get the word out wherever means that we can. And I'll make an appeal to your newspaper here for them to put it in the newspaper. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, I gotta say, you guys are served very well to have Mr. Bertrand here. We've been friends for over, close to 40 years. I know you're older than each other. It's been a long time. Back when Clinton was trying to be president, no, Jesse Jackson. We were at that Democratic convention together. We've worked together ever since. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to citizens, I do want to announce that I executed the agreement through the Illinois Department of Natural Resources for the park, and that will be the Lexington Street Park. Lexington Street, as you know it now, with all fields, will not look that way in another year. You're gonna have football fields with a walking trail around it, along with fencing, lighting on Woodline, as well as basketball courts for youth. And when we say for youth, in other words, it won't be 10 feet basketball courts, it will be for, kids mostly. So they're gonna expand the children's park that you have right there on Lexington, where there'll be a lot more attractive toys, rides for them to engage in, like merry-go-round, things that, you have in most parks. And so they're gonna come in and they're gonna put concessions in. I actually signed that agreement and sent it back to, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources on yesterday. We will be probably publishing a request for RFP, a request for proposal for contractors, probably start that later on this summer. And so that's a $600,000 grant that we were able to get that I also feel really good about. Other than that, citizens. If you have any comments, statements, or concerns, stand, give your name, and be as very responsible citizens. Mr. Richard.
Yeah, Ken Richmond, I stay at the residence of 1303 College Grove Avenue. And, you talk about the tree removal, maintenance program that, I guess is in the works. And when they do get up and running, right along 13th Street and also going down College Grove, ComEd came through and they took down a lot of trees, but they left a lot of tree stumps. So as some kids walk, over on that side, out of the street, they stepping on stuff and it's easier for them to trip. And also on Route 30, right behind my garage, there's a tree there. And last spring, that when them bees started coming out. And that tree is infested with bees. And it probably needs to come down.
Where is that located? What's the location?
Right 1303, but behind my garage. There's a big tree there, and it got a hole right at the bottom. There's like all kind of stuff growing out of it.
Mr. Gordon.
And, that's all.
Okay, is it in like an alley? Is it on your property? Is it on the village property?
Well, I consider the grass, got a sidewalk. I kind of consider the other side of the sidewalk the village. I could be wrong though, but it's right there, on the other side of the sidewalk.
Okay, Trustee Griffin, can you get pictures? If it's on the village, then we'll have it removed.
As far as them tree stumps, I'll be up there to take a look at it, and let me know what you're planning about, I'll bring it to the mayor, and the board, and see if we can take care of that for you.
All right, thanks a lot.
And I was saying earlier that I'm pleased to announce that they're gonna do 13th Street has been turf, it's turf. That they're gonna resurface that street this year, as well as repair some water mains and do some new hydrants and stuff in that area. So, and that's a very expensive project, because that goes about a little bit over a quarter of a mile from Cottage Grove to Woodline. And so they're gonna do that entire area this year. Real pleased with that, cause it's terrible. Any other citizens? Ms. Griffin.
Kimberly Griffin, 1423 East 15th Street. I have a question for Mr. Drake concerning Buzz. A couple of times I had to call Buzz, and I found out, I didn't know if it was a real law or not, but they informed me that they did not want to take my son. You can't go across county lines, so I'm trying to see if that's for real or not, even though it's like around the corner.
We cannot go over the state border into Indiana for any psychological, or if you're under the custody of the PD or anything dealing with, because they have different laws in Indiana. So they will be able to keep your child regardless of your sex. Illinois had different laws with psych, so we had to stay in this county and state.
I was just trying to find out because both of the facilities, both hospitals, it's
Yeah.
called Franciscan.
And they both are connected, but it's
And-
just because of the state.
But Franciscan, in Olympia Fields does not have anything for mental health.
Nope.
Right.
Nothing.
They do not.
So they send them home within like 30 minutes. They keep them for a half a minute and give them an Ativan shot and keep it moving. Now,
If you,
if I take,
I was gonna say, your other bet is to ask the ambulance crew, if so, if they can transfer your child to Ingalls Memorial, where they do have psychological and all that issues.
Yeah,
If
I
you
understand
need-
why
where they can
Memorial's
hold.
there.
Yes, because we cannot take them legally over there, and sometimes they do, and if they do, that's a whole nother battle. You're gonna have to go against them all, but.
seemingly, you would think that if I took an individual in the car just around the bend, and we're in Indiana,
Yeah,
you're gonna take my money, you're gonna use my insurance, and you're gonna keep me at your facility for mental health. But
not there.
I just can't take you in the ambulance.
No, just, yeah, you'll have to ask for, the refusal. That's the thing is, when you call in 911, we supposed to take you to the closest hospital. For certain issues, like psychological, we have to take you to the nearest Illinois hospital. Now, dealing with, Olympia Fields is not dealing with that issue. Only one that's dealing with that in this area is South Suburban or Ingalls. And more than likely, they'll take you to Ingalls because Ingalls is still.
Oh, they took me to Ingalls.
Yeah.
We went the expressway to
Mhm.
159, but, it just seems strange that these facilities are both the same and
And they
governed
don't
the
have-
same
and
and
what-
just a,
Let me ask that, you guys provide contact information in lieu of time. But that's a very important issue, and I'm glad that you brought it up. I've asked Judge Studley that you did introduce me to, a lady that has a mental health type of facility, I think, in South Holland and in Hazel Crest.
Twin Green.
And what I know that mental health is a major issue now. I think that it behooves us to look at, now that we're trying to do something with the community service center, that Mr. Kendall is saying got $44 million for behavioral health. Why couldn't we figure out some kind of way to partner to put a satellite office in the community service center where we would know, and we would know how to respond and the right and proper thing, I don't have a clue, thing to do? Would it be some kind of way, or would her organization be interested in maybe having a satellite office there? She's certified, Dr. Twin Green. I've met with her a couple times, and I did kind of allude to, I know this mental health thing is huge. So I think that we should have some type of service here in our community that addresses that particular issue, as opposed to we always gotta go somewhere else. You know, and we should have experts that can direct us to, you know.
Have another one, Dr. Yolanda Peppers.
Okay, is there any way we could maybe set up a meeting
I
with
will have her
them?
call
And,
you. Oh, I can give you her information, you can call her.
either way,
Okay.
I got so much.
Which is, you got so much on your plate already. You don't get-
Yeah, if I could get killed, but,
I will have her call.
definitely. But anyway, I'm supportive of this idea. But, any other comments from citizens or visitors?
Brad, 1500 Ambassador Lane. First, I want to congratulate the village for bringing back the fest, something that we've been missing that for a long time. And second, I want to find out where we stand with the second fest, which is the Old Timers Fest.
I'm sorry, but, I got this like sinus thing. It's got my ears and everything kind of clogged up. I didn't hear a word you said.
I just want to see where we
I
stand.
kind of know what it is, but.
The Old Timers, we came in a month ago and asked you all for help too. Again, like I said, we were just congratulating you all for bringing back the Village Fest.
Well, I can tell you this, with what the board approved for the Village Fest is gonna be contingent on the availability of funding. And I asked the board to do exactly the same thing. If some funds are available and we support it, I like the Old Timers Fest. It's not about what I like though, it's whatever the board of trustees decide they wanna do. It doesn't have to be at this meeting, but I think that it would be appropriate to look at possibility of doing something to support the Old Timers Fest as well. Maybe next meeting, we could have that on the agenda as an item, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Jones, 1425 Center Lane. Good evening, everybody. Mayor, a couple of things. Is the park for youth only, the new park about to come on Lexington? Is that gonna be for youth only?
I think it's just gonna be an open park.
The reason why I asked is because you said something about the lower rims for.
Oh, yeah, the basketball courts are gonna be mostly for, like, probably up to middle school.
Okay, the reason why I said that, because it's outside, you gotta remember, and lower they are, these grown folks will be hanging on. They do sell adjustable rims, real nice, hefty adjustable rims. You can lower it to 8 feet or go up to the 10 feet. I suggest y'all look at something like that.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was explaining to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that, some was inside Phillips, Cottage Grove also that we had put in before. So they do have sturdy ones. That's one thing. Another thing, Mayor, is that, been an elected official before previously, and Cottage Grove Medical Center, the old center, they don't have a thing on the wall that says the capacity of people. They don't have it at the senior building. So I've been having a problem, Trustee Wilson, maybe you can help me with this. We need to set up a meeting with Cook County Police Department because they've been harassing my businesses for the last month, and they even bought Fort Heights Fire Department down there a couple of times. My thing is that Fort Heights Fire Department come down, they should sit down with me, let's have a meeting, let's talk about it, let's go down there. Don't just come down to the strategy of doing a venue. Now, they had a party over here last weekend at the senior building. Same thing. People do have alcohol in buildings. It's not supposed to be in a village municipality or in a non-for-profit municipality, but they do have it. But for the police to block off every block in the community, they just did it last weekend again to stop a party in my building was, unbeknownst me. But the thing about it is, I'm a resident here. I have business here in our community, and I would like the support of our board to see what's really going on, and sit down, Mr. Wilson, if we can, and talk to the county about what's going on, and see if we can come to a resolution. And that's all I'm asking.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I made a phone call to the Cook County Sheriff, and I had Trustee Harper with me, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that, you should do exactly what you're saying. Let's sit down and have a discussion. I also informed them, don't use my name.
Yeah.
First of all, because I haven't written or authorized anything. Matter of fact, if I could authorize something, I would authorize to remove the red stuff.
Right.
Or maybe some other things if I could. But the fact of the matter is that I think that we do have to figure out some kind of way to work together.
Yeah.
And then I did reiterate the same thing that you just stated, Rev, that at the end of the day, he lived here. He has a right to earn a living. Now, should there be some structure and some other things? Sit down and work it out. Yeah. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. That's what I think should occur. That was the message I left with him, Rev. Yep. And I'm hoping that's something that we could do, because I'm doing so many doggone things. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I understand.
I don't even want to meet.
They stopped me from having access to my own building and gave me 6 tickets and told me I couldn't come to my building, my property, and so it just,
They did it again?
They did it again after that. Yeah, they did it again. They did it again. And so I don't know what's the beef, and then.
And see, that's what I'm talking about, Mr. Kendall. I'm talking about economic development, where you develop the type of revenue where if the village had options, the village could get its own local police department, which would be a burden on the county. The county, the Cook County Sheriff is over $3 million. I don't see no reason why there shouldn't be some type of way that the Cook County Sheriff and Cook County work with the village on matriculating to the point where the village would be able to institute its own local department. At the end of the rainbow, when do you get to the point of independence? You know, does it the aspiration of the board to forever have the Cook County Sheriff? Or we have to make determination. There's some things I like that the sheriff do. There's some things I don't think they do well enough. But the fact of the matter is, it has to be an end game. An end game, if in the event we're gonna ever get to where I think we wanna be. And so, it's a lot of things I'm gonna talk with, Susan Campbell and, I think it's Sophie Flores.
It is, trying to make sure I'm at that meeting.
And on the 15th at 3. Yeah, and so.
3 o'clock here?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, man, can I ask that Mr. Wilson, Trustee Wilson, set up a meeting, to meet with the county like ASAP? Cause I don't wanna go into another weekend because, they do the same thing over and over again. Like you said, it is a way of paying some bills and a way of living, and if there's some things they don't like, maybe we can sit down and talk about it. And there's some things I don't like about them, but we can sit down and talk about those too. But I'm just saying, there's no sense of them just keep on harassing a citizen who's paying bills and live in the community. So like, I just don't think that's cool. And if the fire department want to meet with me and we set up how many people come in, I'm cool with that. But don't just rush into my building because the county told you to.
Right.
So,
Trustee,
that's it. Thank you.
and if you need my assistance and I can help you, we go ahead and initiate, get that meeting, together. Along with the fire department was at the last meeting. And my understanding that they were gonna work with the state fire marshal, you know, to do a visit and to get with Reverend Jones on, capacity in terms of that facility. And
Let's let the
so,
facility-
let's don't just procrastinate, he's losing money, you know, let's see whether we can get to meet together.
President Jones just spoke up and said, not just his building, all the buildings that's in existence in Fort Heights that have X amount of people should be known, something in writing on the wall,
Yeah.
stating that your capacity is X amount of people.
And so let's initiate that. Let's work on, get, yeah, capacity limit on each of them. Any other citizens? Visitors? Well, we thank you for coming. Have a nice evening. May I ask for a motion to adjourn?
moved, man.
Moved by Trustee Griffin, second by Trustee Wilson. All in favor, use sign of aye. All opposed, nay. So ordered. Thank you.